Gail Ann Russell was a 30-year-old mother of two young boys in 1995 when she disappeared. She was living on Oakley Avenue in Hudson, which is located in Pasco County, Florida. She worked as a clerk at the local Circle K convenience store. Gail was in a long-term relationship with the father of her two children, Larry Podolsky. Larry was the same age as Gail and worked as a cook at Red Lobster, as well as doing landscaping work on the side. Larry and Gail had a volatile relationship. Gail's family reported that they had never seen signs of abuse, but knew Gail was not happy and did not want to marry Larry. Larry claimed their relationship was good, and the two planned to marry in February of the following year. Not long before she disappeared, Gail and Larry were at a Taco Bell on the corner of US Highway 19 and State Road 52. A fight ensued, and Larry, angry at Gail, began smashing the window of his truck. When Gail tried to stop him, he pushed her to the ground. The Pasco County Sheriff's Office was called. When deputies arrived, they found Gail bleeding from scrapes to her knees and elbows. Gail told deputies what had happened, and Larry was arrested for domestic violence. He maintained his innocence and was adamant that Gail had made the story up. The following day, for unknown reasons, Gail recanted her story, telling the state's attorney's office she made the whole thing up. The charges against Larry were subsequently dropped. 2 weeks later, charges were brought against Gail for filing a false police report. Gail was arrested. Around this time, Gail made several comments to family members that made them concerned for her safety in the relationship. On Sunday, September 3rd, 1995, Larry and Gail worked a couple of jobs for the tree trimming business, starting around 1 p.m. Their two boys, Joey, aged 4 at the time, and Brian, aged 2, were at a babysitter's house. The times of the evening's activities have changed with Larry's recounts over the years. The following timeline is what was initially provided to the Pasco County Sheriff's deputies and the media following Gail's disappearance. Around 10 p.m. on September 3rd, Larry and Gail finished their work and went to a local dive bar called Bobcats for a few drinks. They left the bar sometime later. The bar was less than a mile from their home. It was never publicized where the babysitter's house was located. Gail and Larry picked up the boys and were home by 12:30 a.m. Once home, they went straight to bed, according to Larry. At about 1 a.m., Larry reported hearing a knock either on the front door or the window of the home. Gail got up to investigate, and Larry went back to sleep. The boys were asleep inside in their beds. When Larry awoke the next morning, Gail was gone. Larry reported that he called the Pasco County Sheriff's Office to report Gail missing around 1 p.m. on September 4th and was told that he had to wait 48 hours before filing a missing persons report. Pasco County Sheriff's Office reports having no record of this call and did not have any such policy in place at that time. Larry ultimately did not report Gail missing until 67 hours after her disappearance. The sheriff's office checked shelters, hospitals, mental health facilities, the coroner's office, and contacted friends and family, and found no sign of Gail. At first, investigators were concerned that Gail may have left on her own accord. After speaking with her friends and family and hearing what a devoted and loving mother she was, they realized that scenario was unlikely. After providing his initial report, Larry was described as uncooperative by investigators. Gail's family was not aware that she was missing for several days. Her mother called the home phone line to speak with her, and Larry would say that she was out or busy. This was a time before cell phones were widely available, and that was the only method for her family to contact her. Gail's family lived out of state. They contacted a family friend who lived near Gail. The friend went to the residence and was told by Larry that Gail was busy doing laundry. The friend was suspicious and contacted Gail's mother. She questioned Larry, who told her Gail had left him for another man and took everything, including her glasses and contact lenses, driver's license, and $245 they had in the home to pay their monthly bills. Gail's siblings quickly traveled to Florida and found the items Larry said Gail took, her glasses, identification, on top of the bedroom dresser. According to her sister, Gail would not leave home without her glasses or contact lenses. The lead investigator on the case, John Stanley, died before he could close what he described as the most frustrating case of his career. Investigators questioned more than 100 people in connection with the case and fielded new calls and leads for years. Larry found himself in local jails frequently on unrelated charges, and investigators would travel to neighboring counties to question him. They never received enough information to bring charges against him. Detective Sessa, who took over the case for John Stanley after he passed, told the local newspaper that they knew what happened to Gail, they just couldn't prove it in court. The absence of evidence was not for the lack of effort on the part of the Pasco County Sheriff's Office. After Gail's disappearance, they searched the trailer for blood evidence. Cadaver dogs were used around the trailer property and in an adjacent junkyard. The septic system was pumped and inspected. Gail's family offered a $10,000 reward for information and hired a private investigator and even a psychic. Gail's sister was able to raise an additional $50,000 through her connections in the entertainment industry to continue to search in nearby areas. Larry's behavior was considered suspicious by many, but never incriminating. 2 days after Gail's disappearance, Larry went to the local food stamp office and advised them Gail had left the state. He asked for the monthly food allotment to be changed from her name to his. Larry often refused to discuss the circumstances of Gail's disappearance in depth with investigators, often getting angry and irate when the questioning began. He twice refused to participate in polygraph testing. Rumors swirled around the small town, having an impact on Larry's family, especially his father, who owned a deli. Larry's father, Joseph, described the situation as hell on our family and noted how cruel people could be in accusing his son. He further noted to anyone who would listen that his son was not smart enough to get away with that serious of a crime. He was not smart enough to destroy every piece of evidence. Joseph Podolsky said that the case was not properly investigated, that Pasco County investigators did not follow up on a statement by Gail's oldest son, Joey, who was 4 at the time. Joey stated that 2 men came up, put tape over his mother's mouth, put her in a car with a tailgate. Joey repeated this in multiple Facebook posts on the Pasco County Sheriff's Department's missing persons post. Many other past friends commented about what a sweet and loving mother Gail was. Joey replied to every post, desperately seeking more information about his mother and vehemently defending his father. The impact of Gail's disappearance was far-reaching through her family. Her parents and siblings spent years trying to find out what happened to her and suffered greatly at the lack of answers. Larry Podolsky found himself in trouble with the law many times throughout the years and eventually died of a drug overdose, reportedly in 2004. Their 2 children, Joey and Brian, were frequently in trouble with the law. Joey appears to have died in 2020 of unknown causes. Brian is currently on trial in Pasco County, Florida, related to a shooting. Unfortunately, unless someone comes forward with information about what happened to Gail, it appears that answers will likely never be found for Gail's family. If you have any information regarding this case, please contact the Pasco County Sheriff's Office